Welcome to Pre-Algebra. This is lesson number 1. So lesson number 1 covers quite a few topics from the previous math course, and it is whole number place value, expanded notation, reading and writing whole numbers, and addition. I'm going to focus on all of these except for addition. Addition we'll go over briefly in class, but that's one of your main arithmetic skills, and the main thing they want to know is whether or not you can add dollars and cents and 3 or 4 digit whole numbers. So if you can add dollars and cents and you know how to properly place the value of dollars and cents and you know how to properly line up your place values on your addition, then you will be good to go. But we will focus on the writing, reading, the number, place value, reading, writing whole numbers, as those are some things that can still give children trouble even after doing it in 6th grade. So we'll start with whole number place value. Oop, and I hit my microphone. Okay, let's focus in here. New camera app. So, oh well, you guys wouldn't know that, but I just got a new camera app and I'm still learning how to adjust the focus. It doesn't come in quite as clear as the original program I was using, but the original program I was using put in an update and remove their manual focus option. So now I'm left to use new things. Anyways, enough stalling. Let's start with whole number place values. So all the way to the right we have the place, we have the decimal point, and then our whole number values start in the ones, as many of you learned, the ones place, or as it is now called, the units place. So we have units or ones, and then tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s, millions, 10 millions, 100 millions, billions, 10 million, 10 billions, 100 billions, trillions, 10 billions, 100 trillions. So you can see every 3 numbers there's the trend. We go ones, tens, hundreds, comma, ones, tens, hundreds, comma, ones, tens, hundreds, comma, and it will change depending on what unit we're in. So we have the 1,000s, 10,000s, 100,000s, 1 millions, 10 millions, 100 millions, and that's the trend. It's up to you to memorize this trend. Hopefully you've done it by now. But this is place value, and this is how we organize our numbers and give them value when it comes to larger numbers. And that's what expanded notation and reading, writing whole numbers is all about. So when it comes to expanded notation, let's see here. So when it comes to expanded notation is simply expressing numbers based on their place value. So, for example, here they have the number 5,020. What we do in expanded notation is every time we come to a whole number that is not 0, we just write it in parentheses with its place value. So since this 5 is in the thousands place, we turn that into parentheses 5 times 1,000, and then we put a closing parentheses. The next number has a 0, so there's not going to be anything for the hundreds place. Then we go to the 2, which is in the tens place, and we're going to write that as 2 times 10 because it's in the tens place in parentheses. Then we go to the 0 in the ones place, and there's no value there because of the 0, and that's how we would write expanded notation. So very quickly we'll go into a couple of examples based on expanded notation and place value. Alright, so this first example up top, we have the number 152068, and for the beginning of your book they're not going to add commas for you, which means you should add them on your own so that way you can keep track of what is happening. Alright, so let's take this number 152068, and they ask us, what is the value of the number 2? Well, remember the trend is in whole numbers that every 3 digits we get a comma. So we'll start from the right, we'll go 1, 2, 3, comma, and we always start from the right because we want to start from the ones place and count up. If you start from the left, you'll end up with problems. So 1, 2, 3, comma, that means this 2 is in the ones, tens, hundreds, thousands place. So when they ask what is the value of 2, the answer is 2 is worth 2,000. Alright, and let's check my answer book, see if we got that right. And we did, we got it. Alright, so first problem of the school year has been solved. Let's go on to the next one. So the next one, we have a number written in expanded notation, and we have to figure out how to write it in normal notation. So in this one, we start from left to right, inputting the commas. We find the individual number. We count from right to, sorry, did I say left to right? We start from right to left, and then we count from right to left to find the place value. When we are given expanded notation, we start with the further left number. The furthest left number is 6 times 1,000, or 6,000. So the first number I'm going to have is 6 comma to show it's in the thousands place. Next, I'm looking for something in the hundreds place, but I don't have anything in the hundreds place. Now, if you remember what I talked about just a moment ago from rules of expanded notation, if there's a 0, then we skip that number and we don't give it a set of parentheses. So since there's no 100, that lets me know that there's a 0 in the hundreds place. So I put 0. Next, I'm on to the tens place, and I have 4 times 10, or 40, so that means I put a 4 in the tens place. And lastly, I have the ones place, and I have 3 times 1, so the ones place will have the number 3. So this expanded notation number is the exact same number as 6,043. And then lastly, for this expanded notation section, before we go on to reading and writing numbers, we have the number 85,020, and I need to write this into expanded notation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start from the left, and I'm going to look at the 8. So the 8 has a place value of what? Well, let's see here, ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s. So 8 has a place value of 10,000. So what I do is I write a set of parentheses, I put the number 8, and then I multiply it by 10,000 to show that that 8, or that 80,000, has the value of 80,000. Next, I put a plus sign, and I'm going to set another set of parentheses, and I go to the next place value. It doesn't have a 0, which means I can use it, and that's 5. So now I'm going to put 5 times whatever its place value is, and I should know that if I'm counting down, it should be the 1,000's place value, but let's double check. Ones, tens, hundreds, 1,000. So 5 times 1,000, that's the next set. Then I put another plus sign, another set of parentheses, and I go to the hundreds place. Now there's a 0 in the hundreds place, so that means I'm going to skip it, and I'll go to the next place value, which is tens. And I have a 2 in the tens place, so then I do 2 times 10. And then the ones place also has a 0, so that's going to get skipped as well, which means that this right here is my final answer. Don't forget the parentheses around each place value. Don't forget the plus signs in between each parentheses. Now the logic behind this is that if I were to take this number, 8 times 10,000, 80,000, and then I add 5,000, and I add 20, well, let's see here. What's 80,000 plus, whoops, yeah, no, that was right, plus 5,000 plus 20. If I add all of those up, what do I get? Slide my camera over. The zeros make 0, zeros and 2 make 2, zeros make 0, 0 and 5 makes 5, and then 8 and nothing makes 8. So then I get 85,020, which is the original number we started with. So that's how expanded notation works. It's just a way of expressing things based on place value so we can understand the value of each number location. All right. Now let's go on to the next one, which is going to be reading and writing whole numbers. And we're pushing it close on time, but lesson number 1 is usually a pretty long lesson. So let's see here. When it comes to reading and writing whole numbers, there are a few rules to reading and writing whole numbers. You'll see those on page 3. The main thing we need to focus on is we will not use the word and. Right? So, for example, 501 is 501, not 501. And that's a common mistake you'll hear a lot of people make. We have to be careful to not make that mistake because the word and is very specific, and we'll cover that in a different lesson on when you do use the word and. But for now, we do not use the word and. And then here, 370 is 370, not 370. That would be incorrect. Okay? And this number 70 brings me to an excellent point, which is if we compare it down here to the number 22, we see 22 is hyphenated, but 70 is not. So when it comes to numbers in between 20 and 100 that do not end in 0, we hyphenate those numbers. For example, 23 is written as 20-3, whereas the number 20 would just be 20 with no hyphen. 35 is 30-5, and that's only numbers between 20 and 100, and that occurs no matter where they show up. So for example, if I have the number 23,000, it would be 20-3, then the word thousand. So anytime you come into one of these hyphenated words, that's how you would write it. Okay, And then also the other thing to note is that when we are writing numbers, we have to maintain the comma every 3 words, right? And you'll be able to see that in the first example. So let's go ahead and go to the first example. We are given a number written in words. Don't mind the whiteout. I don't make mistakes. I'm the math teacher. And we'll see there are commas inserted into this word number. And the number is 10,205,041,500. Each comma shows up during the 3 number intervals. And I need to adjust my focus just a little more. Whoops, that was the wrong way. Let's see here. I believe 15 is the magic number for paper. Yep. So now we can see. So those commas tell me when to insert commas while I'm writing the digit numbers. So if I've got 10 billion, I know that's going to be 1, 0, and then I copy the comma. Then I have 205 million. So the next set is going to be 205. That's the millions place, and then I put a comma. Then I have 41,000. Notice 41 hyphenated, just like I said before. Now 41,000 means I'm going to put 041 for the number 41 in that next 3 number group, and then I put the comma. And then the last one is 500, so the last 3 number group is going to be the number 500. And that is my answer. That's how I write 10,205,041,500. All right, next. I have to turn this number 36025,103 into words. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to insert the comma. So I count from the right, 1, 2, 3, comma, 1, 2, 3, comma, and that helps me set up my word. So that way I know how to break my word up into the 3 number groups. So if I count my place values, I have ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s, millions. I know my first group is going to be 36 million. So essentially what you're doing when you're reading and writing numbers is you're taking them 3 numbers at a time. So each 3 number block based on the commas, you read that number and then you write the place value that it has. So this one is going to be 36 million, and I have to remember to hyphenate 36. So I write 30 hyphen 6 and then million, comma. Next 3 number group is 25. So then I'm going to write 20 hyphen 5,000, because that is the place value. So it's 25,000s. So comma, and then the last one is 103. 103, not 103. So I just write 103. Period. And that is that number written in words. Apologize for the long video. This will probably be the longest video of the school year because lesson number 1 is quite a bit of review. But that's all there is for now, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.